Now that you understand arrays, it's time to introduce you to its big brother, hash. If you can think of an array as a list, you can think of hash as a dictionary, or perhaps a phone book. Where an array is just a list of items, a hash allows you to associate a key to a value. In the phone book example, imagine you want to look up somebody's phone number. You might look up their name and then get their phone number back. This is very similar to the way a hash works. In this example, I'm creating a hash called ages, and I'm associating an integer age to several names as strings. So we can say that Sam is 7, Sarah is 10, and Kumar is 12. To associate a key to a value in a hash, we're going to use this special symbol, an equal sign followed by a more than. This is commonly called a hash rocket. Let's say I want to find out the age of Sarah. I can do a lookup to the hash by using the square bracket operator. It may look the same as for an array, but it behaves a little differently. I'm going to pass the key Sarah to the square bracket operator, and the hash will now return me the value associated with Sarah. In this case, 10. It's really important to note at this stage that hashes can only have unique keys. You can't have more than one key in a hash. Sarah only has one age, so it makes sense for us to store that as a key inside a hash. We can add or set an item in a hash, and they behave in much the same way. The only difference is that when there already is an item existing in the hash, we're going to overwrite it. Otherwise, we're going to add a new item. So let's look at this in a little more detail. Imagine we have a hash called scores, and in it I'm going to store some basketball scores. Let's say we have the team name as the key and the score as the value. So here I'm setting the score for the Knicks to 77. To retrieve the score for the Knicks, I can simply pass the key back to the hash using the square bracket operator, and I'll retrieve that score back. At this stage, we can look at our hash using IRB to inspect the keys and values. I can simply type scores. I can see that there's one key, Knicks, as a string, mapped to 77, an integer. If I try to set Knicks again, this time say 85, and look at the scores once again, you can see that we still only have one key, Knicks, but this time it's mapped to 85. So because keys are unique, each time we set a value, we're overwriting whatever was previously stored as the value. Unlike arrays, hashes can contain anything. The keys or the values can actually be any object, including other hashes. So what happens if we try to access a value that doesn't have a key in our hash? Well, we simply get nil. Nil is a special type that indicates that nothing is present. But if you like, before we try to access a key, we can check to see if it exists. Much like array, we can use the include method. This will return a true if the key exists, or false if it doesn't. Let's try this on our scores hash. I'd like to know the latest score for the Chicago Bulls. So I'll use Bulls as my key. And so because there is no score set for the Bulls, I get a nil response. I could also have checked to see if the score exists by using include. I can pass the string Bulls as the key to the include method. And here you can see I get false because there is no key Bulls inside my hash. If I was to set the Bulls score, let's say 65, and check once again using my include method, now I get true. And again, like array, we can iterate a hash. But this time when we're passing a variable to a block, we actually have to pass two variables, and we're going to use the method each pair instead of each. You may have already guessed that hash also inherits from enumerable. To help you better understand hashes, I have two exercises for you. I'd like you to create a hash containing people's names as keys and their bank balances as values. Feel free to be imaginative here. I'd like you to print all the names and bank balances to the screen. But everyone wants to pool their money to buy a car. How much money do they have? I'll give you a hint. You can use the each pair value to sum up the values. Good luck, and as always, we'll go through a solution in the next video.